Hello, welcome to Calling America, where patriots from across the U.S. come together to discuss current bills being passed by Congress and executive orders being signed by former Vice President Joe Biden, and furthermore, how those bills and executive orders affect each of us in our respective states. As always, unless we are quoting direct sources, all statements in this video are personal opinions. You can find all sources in the description below.
Hi, everybody. My name is Danita Knickerbocker. Currently, I work for Department of Homeland Security. I am from Utah, and I'm here with Truth Matters. So, Ethan, what about you?
Hello, everyone. I'm Ethan. I am also with Truth Matters. I am also from Utah, but I'm also currently a college student at Utah Valley University. Courtenay?
I am Courtenay Turner. I am also a co-founder of Truth Matters. I am the host of the Courtenay Turner podcast, and I am a motivational speaker, and I am in California. Shawn?
Hi, I'm Shawn Wood. I currently work in sales, and I'm starting a YouTube channel. I am from Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada. Mitch?
Yes, thanks, Shawn. My name is Mitchell Peel. I'm from Georgia, and I'm a Department of Energy employee in project management. Been there for 23 years.
And so, first off, do people know about this bill in your state? Are people aware of it? Have they read it? Do you know of anyone that's really talking about it? Have you seen it on social media in your circles from people in your state? All right.
Yeah,
well,
so-
Mitch, what about you in Georgia?
Okay, well, I'm going to throw some out there. HR-1, in my opinion, this is the Democrats throwing everything against the wall and see what's going to stick. What's not going to be challenged by the Supreme Court or by the states. I mean, it is full of a bunch of crap. So that's my opinion on it. I'm not saying that we don't need to take it seriously because, you know, we have a Supreme Court that's turned away election fraud cases, you know, what's it, about 4 or 5 now. So we need to take it seriously, and I think the states do. Now, Georgia did take it seriously. They started working on this probably in December when the outcry came. So their election integrity bill pretty much strengthened a little bit what it already was. That being, you know, you still have to have an ID. Now, the one thing they let up on that a little bit is if you've got a social security number, and they can tie that to identification. And I think you can also use like a bill with your name on it. However, that means you got to have ID to say that's you. So they're sticking to it. And when I go vote, they want your ID. That's the first thing they ask for. Let me see your ID. So we've been pretty strong as far as the voter ID. Now, where it's an issue and where we found an issue in the state of Georgia was, first of all, the unsolicited ballots that went out. And no ID for that, no signature matching. But this is my drawback to our bill here. We still will not have signature matching for your absentee ballots. However, you have to request it, okay? And you will have to show your ID or proof of your ID or who you are to be able to get that. It's an absentee ballot or a postal ballot. Okay, so I don't think they went far enough. They should have just made sure to outlaw unsolicited ballots, period. There's no telling the next election if there's a spike in COVID, they'll institute the same thing and send out unsolicited ballots because they didn't really actually address it in the bill. I mean, if I was my point, I'd say outlaw them. You know, you got to be able to request it and have an ID. So that hasn't changed much. And y'all probably heard in the national news about Georgia. I mean, we were world news to be honest. I mean, this hit BBC and they even addressed it. So some of the things that hit Georgia were, okay, you're voting the hours of voting, you're restricting. Well, all they said was normal business hours, and they interpreted that to be 9 to 5. But all counties have the right and the ability to make that whatever they consider normal business hours. They can make it up to 12 hours. So
Yeah.
Within the bill, they were saying that it was implicit that, okay, whatever your normal business hours you want set. Okay. So they just interpreted that 9 to 5. That was nowhere in the bill, 9 to 5. It was just interpreted. They also got rid of all the drop boxes except some. Okay. Now the pushback was like, oh, you're taking away all the drop boxes. Well, the point is there was no drop boxes before the emergency use authorized under the COVID Emergency Use Act. I mean, not act, but it was emergency use. So like for counties like Fulton County, they're going from 38 drop boxes down to 8. And they cried and moaned, it's like, oh, they're reducing it. Well, I mean, you didn't have them before. So the fact that you get some now, you need to be happy about it. Now, the good thing about that, those things were everywhere outside, no cameras watching it. No, anybody could come over there and just drop a bunch of, fake ballots in if they wanted to. Now the 8 drop boxes like in Fulton County. Now there's going to be more than that across the state, but I'm just pulling Fulton County out there because it's one of our most egregious, in my opinion, violators of voting issues during the 2020 election. So now they'll be in buildings, and so they'll be secure, and they will. Now I don't know this from the bill, but since they'll be in buildings, hopefully there will be cameras that will have 24-hour surveillance on them to make sure nobody breaks in or whatever. Another thing, they tried to say that we got rid of Sunday voting. Now, that's true partially, okay? In the bill, originally, they were eliminating Sunday voting. And they got a lot of pushback, especially from, I think it's called the Souls to Polls initiative, go vote on Sunday right after church. So the pushback from that, they came back in and now it's 2 Sundays, not just 1. So that expanded. Another thing they jumped on was, you can't give people water at the polling stations. Well, that's not true. What they're saying is outside organizations not associated with the actual polling station cannot give you water or food because it's obvious you could be influencing somebody. Now, I don't know who would be influenced by a bottle of water, but you never know. It gives them the ability to interact with you, and they don't need to have that interaction. Polling stations will have water. They'll be able to give out water. And the same thing before, if you were with an organization or a campaign, you had to be 150 feet away. Okay. So if you're walking to the poll and you pass one of these places and they're giving out water and food, as long as they're 150 feet away, that's still allowed. You just can't be up there handing out water and food in the line unless you're part of the polling station. So, the pushback we got from this was so ridiculous. We really haven't changed much at all, except to make sure that you got to have an ID if you want to get an absentee ballot or a postal ballot. That's about it. We already have ID, but Georgians are used to been showing IDs for years. Now, my opinion about that and why they push back so hard is because Georgia became one of the states in play during 2020. And the main reason it became a state in play was because of Stacey Abrams and her group weaseled their way in here to allow the no confirming of signatures on absentee ballots and pushing the unsolicited mailing of ballots because of COVID. So that's going to be gone now, and thank God we won't have that. So you're going to have an ID. Always had to have an ID. So all the pushback I think was just because Georgia became in play and it's one of the scrutinized states. So they wanted to push back a little bit harder than normal. And I think our Republican state legislature just told them to pound sand. This is what we're going to do. Now, how that involves with HR-1, I agree. I think it's a 10th Amendment issue. And I hope Georgia, places like Texas, Utah, Arizona, Pennsylvania, they take the bill to court, take the Supreme Court and fight it. I'm not very hopeful that they're successful because of what I've seen, but I think the states still need to do it. And there's several other states that have passed election integrity laws. They need to keep on going. Every Republican state needs to do it and follow Georgia's lead. Florida's already done it. Let's just encourage them to keep on going.